After getting a win over the Lone Star Kraken to secure a first-round bye, the Hayes Larks will now begin their journey for a second straight NBC World Series championship in a quarterfinal matchup against the San Diego Stars. And with that, we welcome you into the pregame show on this chilly night here at X Stadium in Wichita, Kansas. Alongside me is Eli Blankenship, and I'm Hank Corsair. And this game is where the attitude officially changes for the Larks. All season, teams go into games with an attitude of trying to compete and get the win. But tonight is when the mentality becomes win or go home. And the Larks have shown good performances winning close games in pool play to prepare themselves for the road to the championship. But they face a huge test tonight against a San Diego Stars team that has been the underdog for the entire tournament and is labeled as the underdog once again tonight. And both teams made the quarterfinals last year. That's where San Diego lost, and the Larks went on to win the championship. So both teams will look to keep their hopes of a championship alive tonight, and we are getting closer to first pitch. And for the first time this season, there is no guarantee of another game. And our pregame show coverage will continue next. We'll have a talk with Eli Blankenship and then take a look at the San Diego Stars and also some scores from around the other bracket games earlier today. We'll be back in a minute. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. Welcome back to X Stadium on the pregame show as the Larks get set for their first bracket game against the San Diego Stars. And we now welcome Eli Blankenship on for the pregame show. Eli, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great. I'm ready for some more baseball action tonight. We had a couple days off, a little bit of rest for both the guys and our voices, and I'm very excited to be able to play some late-night baseball here. It's going to be a late one, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah, same one as our last one where the Larks took on the Lone Star Kraken, and that was a very fun game to watch. The Larks knew that they had to get off to a hot start against the Lone Star Kraken team that won pretty big in their first two pool play games against Oklahoma and Seattle. But the Larks showed up and played very, very well, scoring the first 3 runs in the game and holding off the Kraken very well, who didn't score their first run until the 5th inning. And it was an overall great performance to go 3-0 in pool play.
It was, and they really played well against that Kraken team. We weren't exactly sure how well they were going to handle that matchup after having a kind of a shaky start to their first couple games of pool play, and they really picked it up a notch when they played the Kraken. They knew they had to show up and play, and they did just that. And I was very impressed with their performance there against the Kraken, and I'm really excited to see if they can keep that rolling here against the Stars.
Now it's time to switch gears because the mentality now is win or go home. And for the Larks, they've had those close games that we've talked about has prepared them for pool play. But this is a type of game where you have to have a hot start and you can't look back, because every team from here on out wants to win and bring a championship back to their home stadium.
It certainly makes for a very different environment, and I think that this team is certainly cut out for it, but we'll have to see how well they handle it, because they haven't been in situations where it's been win or go home at all this season yet. And so it'll be interesting to see how they handle that and how that can play into their performance on the field, because sometimes players can get in their head with that kind of stuff. And the same goes for San Diego. They have to be able to be mentally prepared to really keep their mental strength where it needs to be throughout the entire game.
And speaking of mental strength, you got to wonder how these last 2 days have been for the Larks, getting that time off with the first round bye, and looking overall at how they benefit. Because I was talking to Coach Keith Harper earlier today, and he said that the team had a great batting practice, which was probably one of their best ones ever. And they bring a lot to the table, but you also got to wonder if being on the road for this long and just like the anxiety of getting ready for this big of competition, how it would both impact the Larks and also help them.
I think the biggest thing is you can't think too much about it if you're a player in this kind of situation, because you come into a tournament like this and you don't really know who you're going to play, how many games you're going to have, and when you have that much time in between games, sometimes it can play to your benefit, other times it can play to your downfall, because sometimes it can cause a player to overthink their opponent, overthink the matchup, and overthink how they're going to perform. Other times it can be the opposite. It can really allow them to get some good rest in and then allow themselves to mentally prepare with a little bit more time for their next matchup. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays into effect for this Larks team. And something we talked about before the game, I'm going to change gears here for a second. This Stars team played this morning. So it'll be really interesting to see what kind of rest that they've had. They played this morning at 9 a.m. I'm curious to even know if they took a rest in between games, if they took a nap, or I'd be really curious to know, because having to be up for a game at 9 a.m. meant that they were probably up at least by 7 a.m. this morning, at least. And so it'll be interesting to see how this Stars team performs at almost 11 o'clock at night now.
That's what I was going to talk about in my final question, so I'll just go ahead and jump into the opponent breakdown. We thank Eli for joining us on the pregame show. And as we take a look at our opponent breakdown, the San Diego Stars so far are 2-2 in the NBC World Series. They went 1-2 in pool play, where they started off with 2 tough losses. One was against the Hutchinson Monarchs by a final score of 5-13, and they also lost to the Seattle Cheney Studs by a final score of 2-7. And then in their third game, they trailed Dodge City 9-10 and won on a walk-off 2 RBI single to keep their hopes alive. But after that point, they needed help to make bracket play. What they needed was for Seattle to beat Hutchinson, and that is exactly what happened, as the Studs won by a final score of 9-5. And earlier today, they beat the Lone Star Baseball Club in the play-in round by a final score of 9-7, thanks to an early 6-0 lead after 1 inning. And they used good fielding and big innings with the bats to help propel them to the victory, but Lone Star didn't go away easily. They made a comeback attempt in the 9th inning, scoring 4 runs, but it wasn't enough. And as we take a deeper look into the San Diego team, they are based in the San Diego area, and they're primarily made up of players from California junior and community colleges. And looking at how they've played in these first few games, they rely on getting on base and slowly chipping away with the bats as the game goes on, and the fielding helps the pitching limit runs. That will be their key to victory tonight. So that's a look at our opponent breakdown for the San Diego Stars, and our pregame show coverage will continue in a little bit as we'll take a look at the starting lineups and also some scores from the games earlier today. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. Back at X Stadium on the pregame shows, the Larks get set for the quarterfinal matchup against the San Diego Stars. Before we take a look at our starting lineups, we'll take a look at the scores from around the other bracket games. Bracket play started yesterday with the Lone Star Kraken beating TPA Texas 10-2. After that, Hutchinson would get a run roll over the Seattle Blackfins. That game final score was 9-0. The Derby Twins beat the Junction City Brigade 6-4. That game actually started last night, and due to lightning, it didn't finish until earlier today. And then the San Diego Stars, they got the win over Lone Star Baseball Club 9-7. That was the first game today at 9 a.m. that was rescheduled due to the lightning delay. And looking at some other scores, Lone Star Kraken pulls off a huge upset, beating the Santa Barbara Foresters 6-4. And then and the winner of this game will play the Lone Star Kraken. Hutchinson snuck by the Alaska Gold Panthers by a final score of 2-1. And in the game before this, it was neck and neck, but the Seattle Cheney Studs defeat the Derby Twins by a final score of 1-0. And now the Hayes Larks and the San Diego Stars will be the final game of tonight's action. We'll take another break, and we'll have first pitch for you up next. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. The moment has arrived, and it is time for first pitch. The Larks are the decided away team, so they will be batting first, taking on number 77, Bailey Viscardi, on the mound for the San Diego Stars, making his second appearance and start of the 2025 NBC World Series. It's the right fielder, number 8, Lane Sparks, leading things off to start the night. He awaits the pitch, and it's on the way, and he hits a line drive over the head of the second baseman, and that is how you start bracket play. This one's going to roll into the gap, and then the center fielder, Justin Tucker, comes in and will throw it back in. A leadoff single on the first pitch of the game for Lane Sparks.
Well, I'm liking what I'm seeing from this Larks team. Starting off the ball game hot, Lane Sparks driving one into right field, dropping that one right into play, and now Sparky's got things cooking for the Larks.
Next up is number 2, Trent Baker, and the first pitch tonight comes at 10:48. When the Larks had their final pool play game, I didn't think we'd play a game later than that. Tonight it beats that by 42 minutes. As it's 72 degrees at first pitch, and the next pitch is on the way, and Lane Sparks will steal second base. The throw not in time. He gets the Larks 144 steal of the 2025 season.
Sparky the speedster coming through again for this Larks team. Time and time again he's picking up extra bases, and he does it for it seems like the millionth time this season.
So Trent Baker starts with a 1-0 count as the ball landed down low. After Baker, it'll be number 15, Thomas Lissy, number 5, Jackson Babcock, number 12, Caleb Duncan, number 33, Wilbert Espinal, number 26, Dylan LaRue, number 6, Tabor Stokes, and number 1, CJ Reed to round out the lineup. The next pitch missed up high, and the count is 2-0 to the left fielder, Trent Baker. And the next pitch from Viscardi misses low. Going to the slider, he is now down in the count 3-0. Viscardi's pitched 5 innings in his first start with the Stars. He's got an 0-1 record, 3 strikeouts, and a .235 opponent batting average for the sophomore from Mesa, Arizona. Larks in the third base dugout cheering on their teammate Baker, who is ahead 3-0 as the next pitch is on the way, and it misses outside for ball 4.
Well, so far a good start for this Larks squad, and Baker having great plate discipline there, not swinging at anything that was not in the zone for him and paying off. He secures himself a free bag, and now runners on first and second, nobody out either for this Larks team. I'm liking what I'm seeing here to start this game.
Moving up from 7 in the order to number 3 is number 15, Thomas Lissy, with no outs and runners at first and second. Lissy had 2 RBIs and a base hit in the previous game for the Larks. That one was against the Lone Star Kraken, where the Larks prevailed by a final score of 7-4. Here's a look at the outfield alignment for the San Diego Stars. In left field, they'll have number 13, Carter Lockwood. Next to him in center field is number 23, Justin Tucker, and the right fielder is number 2, Ethan Wright. As Thomas Lissy puts down a bunt, it will go foul, and it starts to count off 0-1. And on the infield, this is what the Stars will do. Number 4, Joe Anderson is the third baseman. At the other corner is number 35, Frankie Giacalone. The second baseman will be number 34, Raph Dunn, and number 27, Logan Aguilar, is the shortstop. As Thomas Lissy, wearing his red batting gloves, waves his bat above his head. Viscardi takes a look back at second. Lissy pulls the bunt back as the pitch went inside, and it is called ball 1. Larks looking to get the first lead for just the third time in the 2025 NBC World Series. Lissy will show bunt once again. That one was centered, but low in the zone for ball 2.
Well, with the Larks being the away team, they're going to need to set the tone early. We haven't seen them play as the away team and get ahead really early in the ball game so far in this NBC World Series, and so it'll be interesting to see how they're able to adapt to that here in tonight's matchup against the Stars.
Lissy holds his bat out once again for a bunt, and it was fouled away. He has to start swinging as the count is even at 2-2.
And kind of an interesting note for anyone that doesn't know how it works, at least here at the NBC World Series, but the way that they decide home and away teams is based on a coin flip. So it's not based on seeding or anything. It's completely a 50-50 chance.
The count will be moved to 3-2. I don't think Viscardi got the – I think the pitch clock ran out, so Thomas Lissy will be awarded a ball. Something that teams have to get used to playing here in Wichita. And on the full count, it's a swing and a miss to Lissy. They'll throw it over to third base. And sliding in safely is Lane Sparks, and Trent Baker moves over to second. But there is now one away.
Even though Lissy goes down with an out there, his at-bat kind of provided as a distraction for the catcher so that it was difficult for him to make that throw over to third base to throw Lane Sparks out in time. And so now the Larks have 2 runners in scoring position purely just because Lissy was able to kind of throw the catcher off, so to speak.
The first baseman, Jackson Babcock, comes up to bat, and he hits a fly ball. This one will land in the Larks bullpen and start the count off 0-1.
That was a good-looking hit there from Jackson Babcock. I thought he made a good connection there, and it might land in play, but kind of sliced out of play, maybe due to the wind.
Babcock takes the next hit, and it goes into the opposite side of foul territory down the first base line. Count is 0-2 now to the freshman from Colorado School of Mines, playing in his 34th game with the team this season, leading in batting average with .405. And the 0-2 on the way. This one will be a hard ground ball. It'll be the pitcher that picks it up and then tags first base, but the Larks will strike first in the quarterfinals as Lane Sparks scores from third.
Well, they'll take that any day of the week, getting them a run into the back into the dugout and getting on the board early here in the first inning. That is, despite Jackson Babcock being thrown out at first on that play, they're going to take that any day of the week. Now, with Caleb Duncan up to bat, it'll be interesting to see if they can drive in the runner on third. All they need is a base hit to get him in.
With that last hit, Jackson Babcock is now the new RBI leader for the Larks. He's got 40 on the year, and Caleb Duncan will put a bunt down. It'll be the pitcher, Viscardi, that runs up on it, throws down to first base, and they're going to call him out. Caleb Duncan can't believe it, and that will be the end of the inning. It was a very close play over at third with the bunt that he put down. He can't believe it, but that'll be the end of the inning. And the Larks have the 1-0 lead as Lane Sparks had the leadoff single, and bringing him home is number 5, Jackson Babcock. We'll be back in a minute for the bottom of the first inning. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. Larks scored 1 run on 1 hit and left 1 runner stranded in the top of the first inning, and now get set to work in the bottom half of the inning as Joe Anderson goes up to the plate for the San Diego Stars. He'll foul off the first pitch, starting the count off 0-1 against a new face for the Hayes Larks. It is number 18, Simon Lunsford, who played in 7 games and made 7 starts with the Denver Cougars, joins the team. And on the first batter that he faces, it'll be a ground out as Tabor Stokes runs up on it and gets the throw down to first base.
Well, I've really liked Simon Lunsford as a pitcher so far in the one game that he's played for the Larks, and he really had a great performance here in the NBC World Series, appearing as a Lark for the first time. And I'm really intrigued to see if the Larks end up bringing him back on next season, potentially, and kind of almost poaching him from the Denver Cougars. It'll be interesting to see.
It's a 1-0 count to the next batter up. It's number 27, Logan Aguilar, who fouls off the next pitch. This one goes past the press box and puts the count at 1-1. After Logan Aguilar, here is the rest of the Stars order. It'll be number 23, Justin Tucker on deck. Number 5, Landon Bailey in the hole. Number 35, Frankie Giacalone. Number 34, Raph Dunn. And the final 3 batters in the order are number 9, Gavin Gamino. Number 13, Carter Lockwood. And number 2, Ethan Wright. Count 2-1 to the shortstop as Lunsford kicks and deals. And he catches the high inside corner of the zone for strike 2.
Good looking pitch there from Simon Lunsford. We'll see if he can get the K here.
Here comes the pitch and a swing and a miss. It's a drop third strike. Dylan LaRue will pick it up, throw it down to first base where Jackson Babcock is standing, and there is already 2 away.
Well, Simon Lunsford so far been putting on a clinic in these first 2 at-bats. We'll see if he can keep this pace up for the rest of this game.
He'll look for a 3-up, 3-down inning right here as he faces off against the freshman from Palomar Community College. It's number 23, Justin Tucker. Pitch on the way. This one, a chopper that goes right back to Lunsford. He'll run over to first, throw it to Babcock, and there is out number 3. A strong inning there by the Larks fielding, going 3-up, 3-down against the Stars. And when we come back, it'll be Wilbert Espinal leading off the inning in the DH spot when we come back. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. Number 77, Bailey Viscardi, goes back to the mound for the top of the second inning as he faces off against 6, 7, 8 in the Larks order. And the first batter of this inning is number 33, Wilbert Espinal in the DH spot. Made 1 appearance at the plate in the Larks game against the Lone Star Kraken. He came in as a pinch hitter for Brady Kreitzer, who was the designated hitter in that game. We'll see what he does right here as he starts with an 0-1 count and awaits the next pitch. Viscardi delivers that one high and inside for ball 1. Viscardi is a sophomore right-hander from Ottawa University in Arizona, where he made 1 appearance this season. And this is his second start of the 2025 NBC World Series. And he faces a tied count, putting the next pitch outside for ball 2. Espinal gets set. Here comes the pitch, and this one's a fly ball into left field. Lockwood will run back for it, trying to track it down, and he does so, making the catch and getting the first out.
Well, the wind is coming pretty strong, and it's coming out of right field. That right field flagpole that is pretty much in dead right field. The wind is really whipping on that. It's a really large American flag out there in right field, and the wind is really whipping. I can even feel it up here in the press box. It's blowing my papers around up here. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of comes into play in this game.
On the next at-bat, Dylan LaRue hits a fly ball over the head of the shortstop, and Lockwood will throw it in. Dylan LaRue in his return to the lineup gets a single and is the first hit of the inning.
We haven't seen Dylan LaRue in quite a while, actually, in this NBC World Series. It's primarily been Lorenzo Rios behind the plate for the Larks, and so it's interesting to see that kind of change of pace here for the Larks, maybe giving Rios a little bit of rest and getting LaRue back into the lineup, and he's making his presence felt early here.
Next up for the Larks is number 6, Tabor Stokes in the shortstop position once again. He starts with a 1-0 count, or actually no, it's going to be a balk called, and Dylan LaRue is over at second base. So Viscardi still trying to settle in. He's made some mistakes early on. He had the 2-2 count to Thomas Lissy back in the first inning where it was called a ball because of the pitch clock. And now there you put a runner in scoring position with a balk.
Yeah, you really can't afford those errors, especially in a do-or-die, a win-or-go-home game like this is. It'll be interesting to see if he can bring things back together and maybe how soon they think about pulling him from this game.
Next pitch to Stokes is low and inside for ball 2. C.J. Reed is in the on-deck circle right now. He is the final batter in the Larks order. Dylan LaRue is at second after a single on the first pitch of his at-bat. He's currently at second because of a balk, and now the count 2-0 to Stokes. Right-handed pitcher versus right-handed batter. This one goes foul off of Stokes' leg for the first strike.
That's one tough cookie, man. That didn't look like that came off of his leg very slow. I mean, that really came off his leg pretty quick. I sure hope he's okay. I'm sure that one's going to leave a bruise in the morning.
Viscardi comes set, takes a second look back at the bag behind him, and he gets the changeup in the zone for strike 2. Viscardi had 3 strikeouts in his lone appearance where he pitched 5 innings. It's an even count at 2-2. Here comes the pitch, and it takes a bounce in the dirt, and it will be another full count. Stokes will be the second Larks batter to be faced with a full count. The first one was Thomas Lissy, who struck out. We will see what Stokes does right here.
That was a good take there from Tabor Stokes. That just just barely missed the inside corner just by a hair.
Here's the payoff pitch from Viscardi, and this one will be a hard ground ball over towards the shortstop Aguilar. On the run, throws it to first base, and the first baseman, Gia Colon, came off the bag, and the Larks will have runners safe at the corners.
Well, Tabor Stokes is pretty quick himself, and that right there is a testament to his never quit attitude and his hard work ethic. He was able to really leg that one out all the way down to the first base and then ran all the way through the first base path. And props to Tabor Stokes there to getting on base.
Dylan LaRue at third, Tabor Stokes at first, and C.J. Reed up to bat, starting with a 1-0 count.
Well, you've got to think now the idea is hit the ball as hard as you can into the outfield and try to drive that runner in off of third base just based on where they're at in this inning.
Pitch is on the way. Stealing second is Tabor Stokes, but he will have to go back to first as C.J. Reed chops one foul towards the Larks dugout. Both runners for the Larks take a lead. And here comes the pitch. It gets in the zone for strike 2. Scardy trying to get his 5th strikeout of the tournament. And he delivers the pitch. This one put in play. The shortstop was running the other direction, and Aguilar has to throw it on the run once again. But it's an RBI as C.J. Reed's out at first base. And scoring from third is Dylan LaRue going back to the Larks dugout, getting double high fives from Caleb Duncan and Thomas Lissy.
Well, that's Ribby number 2 in the tournament for C.J. Reed. Coming up big for the Larks, and they needed someone to bat him in. And sure enough, they got LaRue back into home plate safely. And now the Larks with an early 2-run lead here. And as the away team, that's going to be so crucial for the Larks going forward in this game.
Already the Larks go back to the top of their order with number 8, Lane Sparks. And the right fielder takes the first pitch for ball 1.
Well, Sparky had a pretty nice knock the last time he was up to bat, and we'll see if he can do that once again here.
If he can get a hit right here, it would be his 14th multi-hit game of the season. And he's going to be ahead 2-0 as another pitch goes outside. Catcher Landon Bailey actually had to come out of his stance a little bit to get it. And that last single by Lane Sparks went into right field, so both Dunn and Giacalone will play closer to the grass, anticipating that's where the ball is going to go. Sparks still hasn't swung yet. The count is 2-1 on the next pitch called a strike. Stokes will take a big lead off second, almost halfway down the base path. And there is ball 3 to Lane Sparks on a low pitch. The catcher centers his glove. And the next pitch misses, and Lane Sparks is going to get on base for the second time tonight.
Well, he tried to get him on the changeup there to end that count, and Lane Sparks didn't fall for it one bit. He was able to watch that one go right past him and gets himself a free walk down to first base.
Trent Baker will make his second plate appearance of the night. He's already stolen base once tonight after he was walked on 4 straight balls. We'll see if he can get on again. He takes a big swing at this next pitch, and it's going to be a fly ball into right field, but Wright's going to be there to track it down for the third out. The Larks add another run that inning thanks to Dylan LaRue getting the first hit of the inning and scoring on an RBI ground out from C.J. Reed. It's the middle part of the San Diego Stars order up next when we come back. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. As the Larks add another run in the second inning, they had 2 hits and left 2 runners on base, and now get set to go to work in the bottom half of the second, facing off against the middle part of the San Diego Stars order with Landon Bailey as the leadoff batter, and he starts the inning with a 1-0 count. Simon Lunsford makes his first start as a Lark tonight after 7 starts this year with the Denver Cougars, where he put together a 4-3 record and had 45 strikeouts and only a 3.85 ERA. And the next pitch is going to be a fly ball, and Tabor Stokes will just stand there and let it come right to him for the first out.
Well, every single ball that's going to be connected with tonight, every time the ball comes off someone's bat, it's going to just almost immediately die once it gets up to a certain point in the air. Just because of the way the wind is blowing from right field, the way that it is, it's going to take pretty much every bit of speed that ball has completely off of it.
There are 20-mile-per-hour gusts coming out of right field. And now the next batter up is number 35, Frankie Giacalone. San Diego native, that's a Mid-America Christian commit. Will miss the next pitch, swinging and missing. Simon Lunsford goes to his 70-mile-per-hour slider and puts the count at 0-2. Lunsford will look for his second strikeout of the night as he delivers the pitch, and it misses high and outside for ball one. Lunsford is a high school senior from Lakewood, Colorado. He'll be playing at Colorado Mesa next season. Had a good season with the Denver Cougars and is looking for his first win as a Lark tonight as he faces a 2-2 count against Frankie Giacalone. Pitch goes to the plate, and a swing and a miss. There is the second K of the night for Simon Lunsford and the second out of the second inning.
A good-looking strikeout there for Simon Lunsford. He is on fire on the mound tonight so far. He has just been putting on a clinic.
Next up for the Stars is number 34, Raph Dunn, the high school senior from San Diego that's actually one of two D1 commits on the team, playing for the Tritons of UC San Diego next season. He will foul back the first pitch into the net for strike one. And that team is a recent move up to the Division I level after spending time in Division II. And this will be a fly. The next pitch is a fly ball into right field, and running up and making the catch is Lane Sparks. Only 9 pitches thrown that inning from Simon Lunsford to get the 3 outs. And now it's time for the top of the third inning. Thomas Lissy, Jackson Babcock, and Caleb Duncan are up next for the Larks. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. We're only about 30 minutes into tonight's game, and it's already time for the top of the third inning as Thomas Lissy will make his second appearance at the plate, still facing off against the starter Bailey Viscardi. Looking to continue the run for the Larks. They scored 1 run each in those first 2 innings, and Lissy will get on to start the inning as he's hit by a pitch on the arm.
Well, I'm curious to see when we're going to start seeing some action in the Stars bullpen, because they can only let something like that go on for so long before the game starts to get out of hand, especially with this Larks team that really capitalizes on any base runner that you give them.
Plus, they've also played today, so they got to be very careful about how many pitchers they use if they do go on to win this game.
Without a doubt, especially if you go on to win this game and you play tomorrow in the semifinals, then you're immediately playing on Saturday in the finals if you win the semifinals. So it's a marathon of a couple games.
Infield pop fly for Jackson Babcock. Making the catch is number 4, Joe Anderson, running in from third base. And there is out number 1. That brings up the Wichita State shocker, Caleb Duncan, who is batting 5th in the order tonight. He put down a bunt in his first appearance. That would end up being the final out of the inning, but it was a very close play over at first base, and it could have gone either way.
It was, and Duncan's such a speedy guy that I was really surprised he got thrown out on that play, and as you said, it was very close. I mean, it could have gone either way.
Duncan will leave the first pitch at his knees and awaits the second one as Thomas Lissy, who was hit by a pitch to start the inning, will take a lead off first base. Next ball gets away, and it's now 2-0 to Duncan.
Well, what I just saw from Caleb Duncan right there was very impressive. He actually had the field sense to be able to look over to his teammate that's on first base and put his hand out and told him, stop, don't go, because of the way the ball came off the turf.
There is ball 3 to Duncan. Looking to continue his streak of getting on base, something that he's done in all 25 games leading up to tonight. The 3-0 pitch is outside for ball 4, and the Larks will put runners at first and second base with only 1 out.
Well, despite Duncan being just a sophomore in college, what he did right there at the plate to tell his teammate to stop and not run to second, that's the sign of a very experienced ball player, and that was a very veteran and class move out of Caleb Duncan there. And there's a reason that he plays baseball at the level that he does.
Landon Bailey goes out to the mound for a meeting with his pitcher, Bailey Viscardi. Still nobody warming up right now in the Stars bullpen on the right field side. Now Wilbert Espinal goes up to bat, and he will pop the first one back foul. Takes a bounce off the, I forget what you call that covers the seating.
Awning.
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Took a bounce off that and then landed on top of the roof of the Wichita State indoor training facility. On the 0-1 pitch, this one lined right back to Viscardi, and he throws back to first base, and it gets away. And Thomas Lissy, who tags second base, is going to run over to third base. He made an incredible catch, but with the air, that's going to put runners both at the corners.
I'm really surprised he didn't throw it back to first faster than he did. I'm almost wondering if there's a little bit of confusion there on his part as to he caught the ball and he's like, I didn't expect to catch the ball. What do I do with it now? And so I think that may have been what happened there. And Caleb Duncan luckily got back to first base before getting tagged out.
2 away, and Dylan LaRue, who had the single after returning to the lineup, will come up to bat and start with a 1-0 count.
Well, Thomas Lissy's going to be looking for every opportunity that he possibly can to make his way home on a pass ball or anything. He's going to be going with 2 outs.
Giacalone over at first base will cover the bag where Caleb Duncan takes a lead. And the next pitch to LaRue again misses outside, making the count 2-0. The Larks have scored 1 run in each inning so far, looking to do so in the third. The changeup misses, and Caleb Duncan steals second base once again, getting steal number 11 on the year.
Well, that was a great opportunity or a great time to steal there for Caleb Duncan. He knew that Bailey wasn't going to throw that ball with a runner on third, especially with Lissy. Lissy could have very easily made it home there had he thrown that ball to second base, and Lissy very wisely made sure he watched the ball in the catcher's hand.
Next pitch to LaRue goes right down the middle for the first strike. 2 runners are in scoring position for the Larks. At third is Thomas Lissy. At second is Caleb Duncan. Viscardi kicks and deals, and this one's a deep drive into right field. Right will run back for it, and this one will take a bounce off the wall LaRue will sprint over to second base and slide in safely. He's got 2 RBIs and the first extra base hit of the night as the Larks extend their lead to 4-0.
Well, that is one way to make your appearance back into the lineup. Dylan LaRue with a nice shot to right field. I thought that ball had a chance to get out of the ballpark. I think the only reason it didn't was because of that headwind coming out of right field. Dylan LaRue with a nice knock, and a great job by him having that awareness to pick up the extra bases. 2 RBI double for LaRue.
We'll see if Tabor Stokes can now keep the drive going. He also will work with a runner in scoring position thanks to Dylan LaRue's double, and Stokes starts with a 1-0 count. He had a single in his prior at-bat. That one was on a full count where he would make it all the way over to second base. Stokes will take the next pitch, and that one will be called a strike, making the count 1-1 to the sophomore from Mustang, Oklahoma, and the Ball State commit.
Well, I'm seeing some movement now in the San Diego Stars bullpen, so it'll be interesting to see who they end up putting in the ball game and how soon that happens.
Stokes takes a swing and misses at the next pitch. He is down 1-2. Stokes will take a few practice swings and await the pitch. He will put this one in play, but it's going to bounce foul, and fielding it is the Larks' third base coach, Andy Luton.
You need to get that guy a mitt, get him a contract, get him on the field. He was able to barehand that thing, and it wasn't coming all that hot at him, but.
Fortunately, his playing days are over. Here comes the 1-2. Stokes will leave it inside to make the count even at 2-2. Larks looking to continue this inning. All 2s across the board, balls, strikes, and outs. And on the next pitch, it's a breaking ball missing for ball 3. And Stokes has his second full count of the night. The first one was a single. We'll see what he does right here. Here's the payoff pitch from Viscardi, and this one is a line drive into left field. This one's going to take a bounce and then go in the glove of Lockwood. He will throw it home, but there will not be a play made. Dylan LaRue will cross home with ease, and the Larks extend their lead to 5-0.
Well, I'm liking what I'm seeing from this Larks baseball team right now. Man, a nice knock from Tabor Stokes. He drove that sucker into left field, and that had no chance of being caught.
Another RBI for the Larks. And doesn't look like the Stars will have a meeting. They will continue to let Viscardi do his thing. And C.J. Reed up to bat as the Larks will now go back to through the entirety of their order again. Here comes the 0-1. It's going to go outside. The catcher throws down to second base, and they're going to call out Tabor Stokes.
Yeah, that's the right call there. Even though the Larks faithful aren't happy with that call, Tabor Stokes just missed it by maybe half a step there on that play. Stokes was really close to being able to slide into second base safely, but just barely got thrown out there on that play.
It's the first time this tournament the Stars have caught somebody stealing, but the Larks put up 3 runs in that inning. Thomas Lissy, Caleb Duncan, and Dylan LaRue all score, extending the lead to 5-0. And when we come back, it'll be the bottom of the third. The Stars will have 7-8-9 up when we come back. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. Thanks to a 3-run top of the third inning, the Larks have extended their lead to 5-0 over the San Diego Stars. And now with Simon Lunsford returning to the mound, they face off against the designated hitter, Gavin Gamino. After Gamino, it'll be number 13, Carter Lockwood, and then number 2, Ethan Wright. And the count is now 0-2 as he swings and misses at the next pitch.
Well, Simon Lunsford is just looking so good on the mound right now. He is just finding the zone where he needs to and getting batters to bite at pitches that they really shouldn't be biting at. But, man, he is just looking real good.
And he puts it in the zone, and he strikes out the Rogers State commit, Gavin Gamino, for the first out of the inning.
A backwards K for Simon Lunsford. Strikeout number 3 on the night for him. And, man, he is just – I have no other word than just to say incredible from Lunsford so far in these first 3 innings.
The Larks had batters as players of the game for the first 2 games of pool play. That third one against the Kraken was a pitcher, Nolan Wilson. Right now it's a race between Simon Lunsford and Dylan LaRue for that spot at the end of the night. So Carter Lockwood is the next batter up, and he's going to hit a fly ball in an 0-1 count. Running in is Caleb Duncan, standing right on his college's logo, and he's got the catch for out number 2.
Well, so far, no hits allowed from Simon Lunsford on the 3 strikeouts that he's secured. He is just, I was telling you, I think that they keep him in as long as his arm will hold up for this Larks team in order to conserve arms.
Ethan Wright comes up to bat and starts with a 1-0 count, leaving the first pitch upstairs. Ethan Wright is a sophomore from Mesa Community College. They'll be playing at Tennessee Wesleyan next season. He'll leave the next pitch outside for ball 2. Larks trying to go for their 3rd straight 3-up, 3-down inning. And here's the 2-0 pitch. It's going to go high and inside for ball 3. Stars do have to be careful because it's a different run rule here, where it's if you score 10 runs after 5 innings, the game is called, and the same thing if you have an 8-run lead after 7 innings. But they're able to get their first runner of the night, putting Ethan Wright at first base on a 4-pitch walk.
Well, no harm, no foul for Simon Lunsford. He's got 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd. There's no need to worry with a runner on first like that, especially after you walk the guy. You've been pitching good all game. You just got to keep your mental calm, cool, and collected here for the rest of this one.
So San Diego's back to the top of their order with number 4, Joe Anderson, who swings and misses at the first pitch for strike 1. Anderson, another player for this Stars team that played this last season at Mesa Community College. The Stars team does build around a lot of JUCO players. They have 12 on their roster, which means half of their roster is built on JUCO players, with most of them coming from the Pacific Coast Athletic Conference. 0-2 count to Joe Anderson. He'll hit a fly ball into the right center gap. Lane Sparks will sprint after it, and he will get there and miss the catch. He will throw it back in. And scoring for the first run of the night for the Stars is Ethan Wright, all the way from first base.
Well, Lane Sparks, I think, actually overran that ball, and that's what caused him to drop that ball on that particular play. A pretty good knock there from Joe Anderson, and just kind of an unlucky break there for Lane Sparks out in right field.
It was a long run that had to be made and just couldn't get it there in time. And now that takes us to number 27, Logan Aguilar. The freshman from Grossmont College will await the first pitch. As Lunsford took a look back at second base, the first pitch will be ball 1. Next pitch goes foul down the first base line for strike 1. Aguilar trying to bounce back after a strikeout in his first at-bat. That was a drop, 3rd strike. He was the second out of that inning, trying to avoid being the third one right here. Lunsford looks back at second. Here's the 1-1, and it takes a bounce at the plate for ball 2. Count is tied. Lunsford continuing to watch second base where Joe Anderson is standing. This one will be put in play, and Jackson Babcock bobbles it, throws it over to first base, and the throw not in time. And now there's going to be runners at the corners for the Stars. Moving to third is Joe Anderson, and standing at first base is Logan Aguilar.
Well, it happens. I think that's the best way to describe a play like that. Jackson Babcock, I'm sure, had no intentions of bobbling that ball the way that he did. He just couldn't get his hand quite wrapped around the ball, and it happens. That's all I can really say to describe a play like that. And it'll more than likely go down as an error on the scorebook there for Babcock, and he's just got to move on from it and think about the next play.
The Stars' runs leader, Justin Tucker, comes up to bat with 2 outs and runners at the corners. He was a first-team All-Pacific Coast Conference selection at Palomar Community College. Played in 46 games this last season and finished with a .339 average. And so far, he has 5 hits and 5 runs in this year's NBC World Series. Here comes the 1-1 from Lunsford, and he gets it right down the middle for strike 2.
All Lunsford needs to do right here is just worry about this batter. He doesn't need to worry about those runners on first and third. Just got to focus on the guy at the plate, and he'll get this inning over with.
We'll see if he goes to the changeup right here. The pitch is on the way, and he goes to the curveball, swinging and missing. It's a drop third strike, and the throw down to first base is in time for out number 3. The Stars were able to take advantage of some mistakes by the Larks that inning, scoring their first run of the night from Ethan Wright. And now it's time for the top of the 4th inning. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. The Larks take a 5-1 lead into the top of the 4th inning, and it's time for me to throw the play-by-play duties over to Eli Blankenship.
Thank you, Hank. Well, it's a new pitcher on the mound for the San Diego Stars. It's Caden Henson. He is filling in for Bewley Viscardi. Viscardi ends his outing after letting up 5 runs on 5 hits. And finished the day with 1 strikeout. C.J. Reed will lead things off here for the Larks in the top of the 4th. A 1-0 pitch is fouled way out of play over the top of the stands. 1 ball and 1 strike now to the second baseman. Henson pitching out of the full windup. The pitch. The 1-1 is fouled away behind the plate. It will go closer to the San Diego Stars bullpen. Excuse me, not bullpen. Dugout on the first base side. Reed, the left-handed hitter, will await the 1-2. The pitch from Henson. Foul into the safety netting. Right over the top of the on-deck circle. Lane Sparks, the on-deck batter, will go and retrieve that and throw it back into the dugout. One ball and 2 strikes now to Reed. That pitch way inside on C.J. Reed. The count moves to 2 apiece. C.J. Reed wearing number 1 for the Larks this season. He awaits the 2-2. Swung on and missed. A drop third strike. Aguilar bobbling it. Reed does not get down to first base in time. He is thrown out for the first out of the inning.
You got to give credit there, too, to the fielding for the Stars because Bailey picked it up and threw it, and he kind of had to thread the needle to get it past C.J. Reed. And then the way that Giacolone made that catch was pretty incredible.
So it looks like a rosin bag has been thrown from the Stars dugout over to the pitcher, Caden Henson. He will set the rosin bag on the middle of the Wichita State W, right behind the rubber on the mound. And now Bailey will make his way back behind the dish. And that'll bring up the right fielder, Lane Sparks, and the top of the order for the Larks. Sparks had a pretty electric hit to start off the ball game in the first inning. First pitch to Sparks finds the outside corner for strike 1. The Larks wearing their white uniforms, all white uniforms with blue lettering and blue numbers, along with kind of a red outline around those letters. They're wearing their blue hats this evening. 1 ball and 1 strike to Sparks. That pitch way inside on Sparks. He has to jump out of the way. It's kind of interesting. Both teams wearing very similar colors tonight. The Stars wearing more of a pinstripe color with their white, so it makes the color kind of appear almost grayish.
And it was also similar in the game before us between Derby and
Cheney.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, they both wear the same color, and not just with the jersey, the pants, the helmet, everything.
The 3-1 is fouled away for Sparks. Now a full count awaits the right fielder, Lane Sparks. Henson will step off the rubber, adjust his sleeves. Now the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 1 on the outing for Caden Henson. I guess that's number 2 with the drop third strike on that last play. So 2 strikeouts to start the inning for Caden Henson and to start the outing for that matter. So far, a pretty good showing for the Stars bullpen.
And that's why they brought him into the game. He's one of those guys that can find the strike zone very well. Just looking at his senior season at Patrick Henry High School, 26 strikeouts in only 8 games pitched. He had a strong performance there, and he's another player for the Stars team that's going to be headed to the D1 level.
That will bring up the 2-hole batter, Trent Baker. He will take the first pitch way outside for ball 1. Baker playing left field for the Larks tonight, wearing number 2. The 1-0 once again is outside. Baker, the RBI leader for this Larks team, with 39 RBIs on the season. The 2-0 is fouled away into the safety netting. Now 2 balls and 1 strike to Trent Baker. So far in the NBC World Series, Trent Baker has yet to record an RBI. The 2-1 finds the outside corner. Baker doesn't know about that call. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs here in the bottom of the the top of the 4th inning. The Larks still lead at 5-1. The pitch from Henson, way outside. Catcher Bailey will track it down. A full count once again from the San Diego Star, Caden Henson. The payoff pitch. Outside for ball 4. Trent Baker will take his base. It's a base on balls for Trent Baker. With 2 outs on the board, the Larks now have 1 runner on the base paths. That will bring up the third baseman, Thomas Lissy. He has been pretty hot for the Larks in the NBC World Series. He's batting .333 in the tournament. 12 at-bats, 3 runs on 4 hits, and 3 RBIs. First pitch to Lissy is low for ball 1. Baker will take a small lead off of first. Henson now pitching out of the stretch. Baker goes. The pitch will miss Lissy. He jumps out of the way. And Baker will successfully steal second base. And it actually almost appeared that that ball may have gone off the foot of the home plate umpire from what I could see in the booth next door on their replay. Now 2 balls and no strikes to Thomas Lissy. A good swing there taken by Thomas Lissy. Couldn't quite get a piece of it. Fouled that one straight into the safety netting, and the on-deck batter, Jackson Babcock, will throw that one into the Stars dugout. Now 2 balls and 1 strike to the third baseman. The pitch from Henson. Baker goes. That pitch hit into right field. It'll drop into play. Lissy will reach to first base, and Trent Baker will score the 6th run of the game for the Larks.
Good contact there made by Lissy, and Trent Baker actually made an attempt to steal third, and with that he had plenty of time to get home, and they're back up to a 5-run lead.
The Larks lead it by 5 runs, 6-1. And Jackson Babcock up to the plate now. The left-handed batter wearing number 5 and playing first base for the Larks. A very talented batter himself. Leads the team in just about every batting category you can think of. Batting average at .405, on-base percentage at .531, slugging percentage at .655. Hits with 47, RBIs with 39, and walks with 35. I mean, you really can't get any better than Jackson Babcock on this squad.
And he's such a young player, too, that it's just really great to see how he's developed with this team, and big showing for the future if he decides to come back next season.
1 ball and 1 strike is the count to the left-hander. That pitch low and inside on Babcock. Henson pitching out of the stretch. Here's the 2-1. Finds the inside corner for strike 2. Larks have one runner on here in the top of the fourth inning. They lead it 6-1. Jackson Babcock takes a couple twirls of the bat. Now the 2-2. That pitch hit right to the second baseman, Dunn. Dunn will fire it over to the first baseman, Giacalone, to close out the inning. The Larks score one in the top of the fourth inning. They lead it 6-1. When we come back, it's the bottom of the fourth. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to the 91st annual NBC World Series from X Stadium here in Wichita, Kansas. I'm Eli Blankenship, joined alongside me, Hank Corsair. Thank you all for tuning in. It's the bottom of the fourth inning. The Larks leading 6-1. And so far, Simon Lunsford has really been putting on a show for the Larks bullpen. Leading off for the Stars will be Landon Bailey, the catcher. Was able to secure a pretty crucial out for the Stars in the previous inning. He starts the count 2-0. The 2-0 finds the outside corner for Lunsford. Now 2 balls and 1 strike to Landon Bailey. The pitch from Lunsford misses on the outside corner, couldn't quite find the zone. Giving the outside of the zone a haircut, if you will.
He's caught some guys swinging so far, just trying to bait them into that position again.
The 3-1 finds the outside corner. Now a full count to the catcher, Landon Bailey. Bailey, a sophomore at Mesa Community College and native of Santee, California. The payoff pitch from Lunsford swung on and missed. Strikeout number 5 on the night for Simon Lunsford, and it's been a clinic from the former Denver Cougar.
It's a way to make your presence known with a new team. There's always just that question marks about how he'll perform joining the Larks this late in the season, but he's making his presence known.
Simon Lunsford will prepare for his next victim. It is Frank Giacalone, the first baseman, native of San Diego, California. He wears number 35 for the Stars. He starts out the count 1-1 after missing that pitch, which lands in the bottom right corner of the zone. The 1-1. Struck right up the gut. Reed will be there to field it. He throws over to Babcock, who makes the play for the second out of the inning. Giacalone goes down, and now Raph Dunn, the second baseman, is now up to the plate. Raph Dunn, a high school senior, committed to UC San Diego. just graduated from St. Augustine High School in San Diego, California. He takes the first pitch, and that one is fired right over to Jackson Babcock, who underhand throws it to Simon Lunsford, who steps on first base for the final out of the inning. The Larks go 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 4th inning. When we come back, it's the top of the 5th. You're listening to the 91st Annual NBC World Series on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to X Stadium, home of Tyler Field. Leading off will be the Wichita State baseball player and very familiar to this ballpark, Caleb Duncan, the sophomore out of Goodyear, Arizona. He wears number 12 and plays center field for the Larks. He takes the first pitch low and inside for ball 1. Caden Henson remains on the mound for the San Diego Stars. The 1-0 is outside for ball 2. Duncan will step back into the box, twirl his aquamarine teal bat. Now he awaits the 2-0. That pitch misses the outside of the zone. Now 3 balls and no strikes to Caleb Duncan. Henson pitching out of the full windup, the 3-0, right up the gut for strike 1. Three balls and 1 strike to the center fielder, Caleb Duncan. That pitch misses on the outside corner of the zone. Duncan will run his way down to first base. He high-fives the Larks' first base coach. 1 runner on here in the top of the 5th. The Larks lead it 6-1, and that will bring up the designated hitter, number 33, Wilbert Espinal. Espinal's done a lot of designated hitting duty for the Larks here in the NBC World Series. He's appeared in the lineup in all but just 1 game, where he actually came in later in that game as a substitution for the designated hitter, Brady Kreitzer. Espinal, a Alabama State baseball player, native of Marietta, Georgia. The 1-0 is inside for ball 2. Espinal was a little bit of a late addition to this team. This is game number 13 for Espinal. 2 balls and no strikes to the designated hitter. The pitch finds the inside corner for strike 1. Henson now pitching out of the stretch. The right-handed pitcher faces the third base. Duncan goes. The throw from Bailey is not in time. Duncan will easily slide into second base safely. Now 1 runner in scoring position for Wilbert Espinal, who faces a 3-1 count. correction, that is a 2-2 count. The scoreboard corrected itself there. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Espinal. Henson takes a look back to Duncan. Now the pitch. Chopped down the first base line, fielded by Giacalone, who steps on first base. That's the first out of the inning, and Duncan will advance to third.
And any type of contact you can make right there is very helpful. Just getting that, even though that's the first out, you have a runner just 90 feet away from home plate, and you put yourself in a position to potentially get the run rule. And as we've been talking about, potentially saving arms for the future games, it's going to translate to the other half of the inning.
Well, up to the plate now will be the batter with the hot stick in this game so far is Dylan LaRue. And it looks like I jinxed him there. He hits that ball straight into the second baseman, Dunn, who fields it cleanly and fires it over to Giacalone for the second out of the inning. I'm going to talk about LaRue since he was just up, even though I jinxed him. LaRue, coming into this game, had only been up to the plate 4 times in the NBC World Series. Had only appeared in 1 game. And so he re-enters the lineup tonight for the Larks, and he's done quite a nice job so far.
And then the battle announcer jinx strikes.
That brings up the shortstop, Tabor Stokes, who has the only home run for the Larks in the NBC World Series. He had a 2-run homer straight into left field in the opening game of the NBC World Series for the Larks. No balls and 1 strike to Stokes. That ball is fouled out of play into the stands. And a couple young fans will chase that ball down. It is certainly way past their bedtime, as it is now midnight here at not at Larks Park, at X Stadium. No balls and 2 strikes to Tabor Stokes. Henson with the pitch. Way outside for ball 1. Duncan just 90 feet away from securing the Larks' 7th run of the ball game. Stokes awaiting the 1-2. The pitch from Henson. Misses on the outside corner. Bailey kind of has to make a diving catch there at home plate.
Something worth noting, it's an interesting matchup right here. Tabor Stokes, a D1 commit out of JUCO, against Caden Henson, a D1 commit out of high school.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The Stokes swing and a miss. The third strike of the inning, the third out of the inning. First strikeout of the inning. Caden Henson picks up his 3rd strikeout of the outing. And we will go to the bottom of the 5th inning. When we come back, it's the Larks' turn to play some defense. We'll see if Simon Lunsford can keep his no-hitter alive. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the 91st NBC World Series on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to X Stadium. Leading it off is Gavin Gamino, the sophomore playing for Mesa Community College, committed to Rogers State. He is a native of Oceanside, California. He's hitting in the designated hitter position tonight. He hits that ball straight to Lunsford, who will make an underhand toss over to Jackson Babcock, who secures the first out of the inning. So far, Lunsford with a no-hitter in tonight's appearance, and tonight's mound appearance for the Larks. He's really had quite a nice performance so far. 5 strikeouts on the night. The first pitch to the left fielder, Carter Lockwood, is inside and goes behind the catcher, Dylan LaRue, for ball 1. Lunsford pitching out of the windup. That pitch misses the zone for ball 2. Lunsford, the right-hander, kicks and deals. The 2-0 misses the inside corner of the zone. And Lockwood now sitting pretty here with 3 balls and no strikes.
Tried going to the fastball right there, just missed it high and inside.
The pitch from Lunsford is not in the zone. And it'll be 4 straight balls and a walk to Carter Lockwood, the left fielder. So now it'll be 1 runner on here for the San Diego Stars as they bring up number 2, the right fielder, Ethan Wright.
And even though you give up the walk right there, that you still got 1 out on the board. And for the Larks, they still have yet to warm up anybody in the bullpen.
The first pitch of the at-bat to Ethan Wright is a strike on the inside corner of the zone. No balls and 1 strike to the right fielder. That pitch just barely misses the zone. May have been a little bit low for the home plate umpire's liking. A 1-1 count now to the right-handed hitter, number 2, Ethan Wright. The pitch from Lunsford. Hit right up the gut. Fielded by C.J. Reed. He'll throw it over to Stokes. He fires it over to Babcock. A double play. Oh, my goodness gracious. A highlight play from Tabor Stokes ends the inning for the Larks. The Larks still lead it 6-1. When we come back, it's the top of the 6th. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the 91st NBC World Series on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to X Stadium. C.J. Reed leads it off for the Larks here in the top of the 6th inning. The 9-hole hitter for the Hayes Larks. He fouls the first pitch away down the first base line. It is fielded by the Larks first base coach, who throws it into the Stars dugout. The 0-1 to the left-handed batter, Reed. Misses the outside corner of the zone for ball one. Number 30, Caden Hinson, remains on the mound for the Stars. The right-hander deals the 1-1. Swing and a miss for C.J. Reed. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to the second baseman. The 1-2 on the way from Hinson. Misses the zone high and outside for ball 2. Count is even at 2 apiece. The pitch. Jammed up Reed. He took a hack at it. He fouls that one out of play right next to the Wichita State Indoor Training Facility. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to the second baseman. The pitch from Hinson. Misses the zone, high and slightly outside. Now a full count awaits C.J. Reed. Hinson kicks and deals. Pitch hit hard into right center field. Backing up is Tucker. He's there to make the catch. And that ball would have been smoked and completely out of the ballpark on a day that had no wind. C.J. Reed made absolute perfect contact with that ball. And unfortunately, due to the Kansas wind, it will stay in the ballpark.
Yeah, he made great contact with it, and then Tucker doing a great job to track it down. He had to sprint to it to get there in time.
That'll bring up the left-handed hitter, Lane Sparks. He will take the first pitch on the outside corner of the zone for strike 1. Hinson still pitching out of the full windup. Sparks will get a hold of that one and hit it hard into the right field corner. It can't drop into play, though. It will just barely miss the right field turf as it lands right of the first base foul line near the corner in the 330 mark. No balls and 2 strikes now to Sparks. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 4 on the night for Caden Hinson, and out number 2 of the top of the 6th inning.
And again, he's just doing a great job of putting the ball in the zone, just working it around different areas, getting the Larks to either watch it go by for a strikeout or swing and miss.
That'll bring up the left fielder, Trent Baker. He will have a half-hearted swing on the first pitch of the at-bat for strike 1. The Larks faithful have really shown up for this NBC World Series so far. It is currently 12:10 a.m. here in Wichita, Kansas, and the Larks faithful still holding strong here at X Stadium. They've got a pretty good section over here by the Larks dugout on the third base side of home plate. That pitch, a pass ball, and now 1 ball and 1 strike to Trent Baker.
And with what you just said, it's hard to believe it's already August.
It is already August 1st, so it's the first of the month, everybody. A happy August to everyone that is tuned in. We really do appreciate every single one of you that is tuned in to our broadcast so far in the NBC World Series. 2-1 to Baker is fouled over the top of the safety netting and into the stands. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the left fielder. Hinson will get the pitch call from Bailey. Now the 2-2. That pitch chopped over the top of the first baseman, who will back up, and Giacalone will secure the last out of the inning. The Larks go 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 6th, or excuse me, in the top of the 6th. When we come back, it's the bottom of the 6th, and the Stars' turn to try to make their way back onto the scoring column. The Larks lead at 6-1. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to the south side of Wichita, home of the Wichita State Shockers at X Stadium here at Tyler Field. Leading it off for the Stars is the third baseman and leadoff batter, top of the lineup, I guess I should say, Joe Anderson. 1 ball and no strikes. That pitch hits cleanly to Stokes. Stokes fields it from the shortstop position. Babcock doesn't tag him. The ball pops out of his glove. And they're going to call it an E6. And I don't, to me it looked like he tagged him cleanly. And it looks like he did not. He missed the tag just barely. Lunsford's no-hitter will stay alive on an error. 3 errors so far on the night for the Larks.
I was questioning that, but you got to give it to the first base umpire. That was a good call.
Absolutely. And from up here, he looked out. But on that particular play, he was safe. That ball hit hard into left field. It's caught cleanly by Baker, who secures the first out of the inning. Aguilar will pop out. And that will bring up the center fielder, number 23, Justin Tucker. One runner on here in the bottom of the 6th. The center fielder and right-handed hitter up to the plate. The first pitch of the at-bat from Lunsford finds the zone for strike 1. The 0-1 from Lunsford. Misses the upper inside corner of the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tucker. Tucker twirling his bat behind his helmet. The 1-1 is outside and low. Tucker will not swing at that pitch, so the count will move to 2 balls and 1 strike. Lunsford delivers the 2-1. Finds the inside corner of the zone. A good-looking pitch there from the right-hander. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the center fielder out of San Diego, California.
We've seen Lunsford go to his curveball in situations right here. We'll see if he does it again.
Lunsford throws back over to first base. Babcock will not be able to apply the tag. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Justin Tucker. Lunsford kicks and deals. Half-hearted swing is a foul tip. It will go behind LaRue.
And the ball took a drop right there. It was the curveball, but Tucker staying alive, making contact with it.
It was the right pitch to swing at for Tucker. I think that would have been called a strike had he not taken a hack at it. 2 balls and 2 strikes still to Tucker. That pitch hit right up the gut, and it looks like it will come off of Justin Tucker's ankle guard. So they will call that a foul ball. The count will remain at 2-2. Lunsford, the right-hander, takes a look over to first base. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Tucker. The pitch misses the zone. A little bit high for the home plate umpire's liking. Now a full count awaits Justin Tucker. Lunsford comes set. The payoff pitch is fouled away behind Tucker. Tucker has really shown some fight here in this at-bat.
This next pitch will be number 9 right here.
A full count to Tucker. The pitch. In the dirt for ball 4. Tucker will make his way down to first. One runner on first, one runner on second, 2 runners on for the San Diego Stars with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
And this is the point in the game for them where they got to start picking things up. Only 1 run, which was scored back in the 3rd inning. They really haven't been able to hit off Simon Lunsford, but if they show the plate discipline, they're able to get on base.
We've seen the Larks do it. Score runs only from walks. We'll see if the San Diego Stars can't take advantage of this inning here as they trail 6-1. No balls and 1 strike to the cleanup hitter, Landon Bailey, the catcher for the San Diego Stars. The 0-1 misses on the outside part of the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to the catcher. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. The pitch. Low and outside for ball 2. And now Dylan LaRue will take a moment to have a conversation with Simon Lunsford on the mound.
And the Larks have somebody warming up for the first time tonight. That's number 20, Seth Lee, in the bullpen. So the Larks will stick with the right-handers.
And I would imagine that they'll stick with Lunsford until he allows a hit in this game. I don't think it would be right for them to pull him in this game unless things start to get out of hand on the scoreboard. But with the performance that he's put up so far, he can not leave this game unhappy. I think that no matter how you look at this performance, if you're Simon Lunsford, whether this ends up being a no-hitter, whether he gets pulled here at this next batter, whatever the case is, Lunsford has put together a really nice performance so far. 5 strikeouts on the night, no hits allowed on 3 errors, and only 1 run. So a really nice performance from him so far.
And it's all in his first appearance as a Lark as well. He has those question marks coming in after being with a different team the entire season, and then comes out and puts on a performance like this. You'd have to label this as a great performance for him.
2 balls and 1 strike to Bailey. Bailey will let that one go past him, and it finds the outside corner for strike 2. Lunsford is looking for his 6th strikeout of the night now. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the catcher. Lunsford's kicks and deals. Swing and a miss. The home plate umpire will rule him out. Bailey will make his way back to the dugout, and Lunsford will chart his 6th strikeout of the night.
And just with that talk that he had with Keith Harper just a minute ago, you got to wonder what they talked about, just staying on point and focus on what you've done all game, because you could say that San Diego's starting to maybe read off him a little bit, but he just focused on finding the strike zone, and now there's 2 away.
I think the biggest thing for a pitcher in this situation is you don't want to let that no-hitter get to your head. You just want to focus on pitching the game that you've been pitching all night long. That'll bring up the first baseman, Frank Giacalone. The 1-0 is swung on and missed. A heater right on the inside corner of the zone. Giacalone steps back into the box. He holds the bat with his sky blue batting gloves. Lunsford delivers the 1-1. It's fouled away. Count now moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I wonder if that crowd reaction, they thought the ball went in play because no runners were going.
I actually think that they thought that Giacalone didn't make contact with the ball. The 1-2 from Lunsford misses on the outside corner of the zone. Lunsford takes a little bit of a couple steps back onto the mound. He really thought that one found the zone. The Larks faithful not happy with that call. The count now 2 balls and 2 strikes to Giacalone. The pitch from Lunsford. And I'm wondering if home plate umpire there thought that might have been a little bit too low in the zone on that pitch. It was right up the gut.
That one actually went higher, and I think the glove movement there from LaRue might have been what made him call a ball.
A full count now to Giacalone. Lunsford takes a deep breath. The payoff pitch. Swing and a miss! Strike 3. Strikeout number 7 on the night for Simon Lunsford, and out number 3 of the inning. The Larks come out at the bottom of the 6th unscathed. They lead it 6-1 going into the top of the 7th. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the 91st NBC World Series on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to X Stadium. I'm going to turn things over to Hank Corsair for the remainder of this one. The Larks still leading at 6-1. Hank, it's yours.
Thank you, Eli. Time for the top of the 7th inning with Thomas Lissy leading things off. Still facing off against the recent graduate of Patrick Henry High School, Caden Henson. He came into the game at the start of the 4th inning in place of the starter, Bailey Viscardi. And on the first pitch, it's going to be a line drive into right field, and making a sliding catch, knees first, is number 2, Ethan Wright, for the first out.
I really thought that ball was going to drop into play. Thomas Lissy has really had quite the World Series so far for this Larks team. He's averaging .333, so 1 in 3 at-bats up to the plate. He's getting a hit, and tonight he's really shown up as well for this Larks team. It's been quite a nice performance from Lissy all throughout the World Series, and I'm really excited to see how well he continues to do. Whether that's the rest of this game, the rest of the World Series, we don't know yet, but so far it's been a great performance from him.
And he's 1 for 3 again tonight, so he's been one of those consistent players that the Larks can rely on. It's an 0-2 count to Jackson Babcock. He's got an RBI in tonight's game. This is his 4th appearance at the plate. And here comes the 0-2. Swing and a miss. It'll be a drop, 3rd strike, as Bailey will pick it up and throw it down to first base, and there is out number 2. And now the Stars have an opportunity to go 3 up, 3 down, because this is the point where they got to make sure they limit the Larks' runs, not just because we're at the later parts of the game, but because this is the territory where if the Larks can put some runs together, it could easily be a run rule.
They are certainly at a very crucial point of the game. They have to limit runs all that they can at this point of the ball game, especially with the Larks leading by 5 runs. If they even want a chance to work their way back into this game, they can't let the Larks get any more runs on the board. Otherwise, it's going to get out of hand.
The Wichita State shocker, Caleb Duncan, comes up to bat and starts with a 1-0 count. His last 2 appearances have both been walks, And he also has 1 run as well. The ball on the outside puts the count at 2 balls and no strikes. Caden Henson doing a good job so far. He's gotten a strikeout in each of the last 2 innings. But now he faces a 3-0 count as the Stars are trying to go 3 up, 3 down here in the top of the 7th. As the pitch is on the way, it'll get into the high outside corner of the zone for strike 1.
Well, going 3 up, 3 down here in this inning would be really big for the Stars if they can make it happen. They have to limit runs, as we've mentioned, and going 3 up, 3 down would really give them some momentum.
A line drive here by Caleb Duncan right up the middle, rolling towards the center fielder. He's got his first hit of the night and gets on base with 2 outs. Putting it right in between the gap. The shortstop Aguilar couldn't track it down. A lot of power on the hit, and he keeps the inning alive.
Yeah, Caleb was able to just drive that one right up the gut, landed it right on the fist of the Woo Shock logo out in center field, and a nice knock there for Caleb Duncan, getting himself onto the score sheet, and probably a little bit of a confidence booster there for Duncan, who hadn't secured a hit tonight.
Wilbert Espinal, the Alabama State Hornet, will take a swing and a miss at his first pitch, starting the count 0-1. After Espinal is Dylan LaRue and Tabor Stokes for the Larks as they're nearing the end of their lineup. Another throwback to first base. Caleb Duncan slides back safely.
Well, Caleb Duncan is one of those speedsters for this Larks team. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to steal second here on this at-bat.
He did so the first 2 times he's gotten on base. He'll hold back right here as the pitch misses for ball 1 to Wilbert Espinal. Next pitch goes outside, close to the other batter's box. It's a tied count now to Espinal. He enters this game with a .311 average on the season. This is his 13th game as a Lark. Caden Henson continuing to watch first base where Caleb Duncan is standing, and he's going to make a run over to second base. And it'll be called ball 3, so Duncan is safe at second base. No throw was made, so he didn't even have to slide in.
It was kind of interesting. It almost looked like Duncan was just as confused as Bailey was behind home plate. They just kind of had a little bit of a standoff there from second base to home plate, and no throw was made, and really no slide was needed from from Caleb Duncan.
I was a little bit confused too, I'll be honest, because he didn't make the throw, and also it looked like Duncan was kind of jogging over to second.
I wonder if they thought that there was a foul tip or something, if both of them thought that, and they just, neither one of them were on the same page and allowed him to get to second.
It is a 3-1 count to Espinal, and the pitch is outside for ball 4. The Larks will have runners at first and second base, putting together a 2-out rally as Dylan LaRue, who has been one of the top batters in tonight's game, comes up to bat.
Well, Dylan LaRue has been a batter this season that they could always depend on. Time and time again, he's come up big for the Larks, and I would not be surprised at all if he's able to come up big again for the Larks here in this particular instance. He has 6 home runs on the season for this Larks squad. He is a power hitter, and there's a reason that he bats where he does in the lineup.
He'll leave the first pitch at his feet for ball 1. The runner at second base is Caleb Duncan. Wilbert Espinal at first. Both runners will take a lead. Another pitch fouled out of play, and the count is now 1-1. Hate to say we're running out of time for a ball to come your way now.
We are. We really are. I'm really hoping I'm going to get one up here in my window here before the next couple games are done.
Because we'll just have the semifinal game now, and if the Larks win that, The championship game is played at Equity Bank Park. And Dylan LaRue hits the ball right back to the pitcher, Henson, who will underhand toss it over to Gia Colon, and that leads to out number 3. The Larks leave 2 runners stranded that inning, but still hold on to the 6-1 lead going into the bottom of the 7th inning. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. At the start of the bottom of the 7th inning, the Larks will send Simon Lunsford back out to the mound for another inning of work. And his first pitch is to Raph Dunn, who lets it go by for ball 1. Larks just trying to save some arms for the later parts of this NBC World Series. They still don't have anybody warming up in the bullpen, so they will keep Lunsford in the game for a minute as he works with a 1-1 count against the second baseman out of St. Augustine High School that's committed to UC San Diego, Raph Dunn. There's a tied count at 2-1 after Dunn. It'll be Gavin Gamino and Carter Lockwood up to the plate this inning. Next pitch misses up high for ball 3. The right side of the Larks infield will play close to the grass as the pitch goes to the plate. This one's going to be skied out of play, hitting the metal roof of the Wichita State indoor facility. It'll be a full count to Raph Dunn, who's 0 for 2 on the night. He had a fly out to right field in the 2nd inning and grounded out to Jackson Babcock in the 4th inning, and he'll swing and miss right here on the full count. Another strikeout for Simon Lunsford. He adds another K on the night for the first out of the inning.
K number 8 on the night for Simon Lunsford. Are you kidding me? Simon Lunsford putting together just a masterclass of a pitching performance tonight here for the Larks. It has been nothing but excellence from him.
Just needs to get 2 more outs in the inning, and now he'll face the designated hitter, Gavin Gamino. Another player for the San Diego team that is from Mesa Community College. We've talked about this as a team that builds off of JUCO players and primarily players from the Pacific Coast Conference from schools like Mesa Community College and also Grossmont College as well.
It helps that they're located in an area of the country where they have a lot of talented athletes, especially on the West Coast. You have so many athletic programs along with schools on the West Coast in general, and it really allows them to build up a pretty talented squad to bring to the NBC World Series.
Count is 1-1. This one will be popped up out of play. The third baseman for the Larks, Thomas Lissy, started running after it. And this one will take a bounce into the stands and moves the count to 1-2. And a swing and a miss on a 1-2 count. It'll be a drop, third strike. So Gamino will run to first. But now standing at first base is Paul Smith, coming in once again as a defensive substitute for Jackson Babcock. He gets the second out of the inning.
That is strikeout number 9 on the outing for Simon Lunsford. He's one away from putting himself into double figures in one outing. I mean, you really don't see that at this level of baseball. And Simon Lunsford is just I have no other words to describe this performance. It has been incredible for him.
If my memory is correct, if he can do it, he'd become the second Lark to do it this season. The other one was Brooks Jones, who did that down on July 5th when the Larks took on the Game Day Angels. Count is 1-1 as Carter Lockwood watches the second pitch go by. And another one right down the middle, 1-2. As Lunsford used his fastball right there to get it in the upper part of the zone. And he'll deliver the next pitch right away. Low and inside for ball 2.
He was trying to trick Carter Lockwood on that pitch. He was really trying to get that ball to drop it just into the outer edge of the zone so that Lockwood would think that it had a chance to slip in there, and Lockwood didn't fall for it.
Lockwood playing close to the plate as the pitch is on the way. It is up high at face level, and it's a full count. Some of the Larks fans will give some encouragement to Simon Lunsford as he delivers the pitch with 10 seconds on the pitch clock. And it'll just miss inside for ball 4.
Ooh, man. Simon Lunsford knew exactly where he wanted to put that pitch, just couldn't get the location down. The idea was there, the execution not so much for Lunsford, just barely missing the zone there. He's got another chance here. The walk again doesn't go against his no-hitter, so it doesn't really hurt Lunsford in any way, and mentally he's just got to forget about the batter that's on first base.
Just needs one more out to retire the side here in the bottom of the 7th. His first pitch is up high for ball 1. Ethan Wright is 0 for 1 on the night. He was walked in his first appearance, and then in the other one back in the 5th inning, he worked with a runner at first base, which actually was Carter Lockwood, and he hit into a double play. 2-0 now to the right fielder, leaving another pitch outside. And now Keith Harper is going to make his way out to the mound, and he points over to the bullpen, and that will be the end of the day for Simon Lunsford. An incredible performance in his first game as a Lark, as he gets a standing ovation from the Larks fans on the third base side. And a change will be made as Seth Lee is making his way out from the bullpen. We'll be back in just a moment as we'll have the remainder of the 7th inning up next. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. It's a 2-0 count to Ethan Wright. And for the first time tonight in the 7th inning, the Larks make a change on the mound as Simon Lunsford in his first game as a Lark puts on an incredible performance through 6 2/3 of an inning. No hits, 1 run, which was not earned, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts in his first game as a Lark. What a performance for him. After playing with the Denver Cougars for the entire season, he comes and joins the Larks for the NBC World Series and puts on a show.
He absolutely did, and you've got to think that you kind of have a risk evaluation you have to take there in a situation like this. It's a bracket play game. It's a win or go home situation in a game like this, and so when you have 2 runners on like that, and you see a guy start to slip up, you have to evaluate. Is it worth trying to let him go for this no hitter, or do we, conserve his arm and put a fresh guy on the mound?
San Diego goes back to the top of their order for the 4th time tonight now with Joe Anderson starting with an 0-1 count. He works with 2 runners on. At second is Carter Lockwood. At first is Ethan Wright. None of the Larks infielders will cover the bags. And on a swing and a miss on the lower part of the zone, Joe Anderson faces 2 strikes in his count. Last opportunity for the Stars to keep the inning alive. As the new pitcher for the Larks, Seth Lee, takes his time, delivers the pitch, puts the fastball on the outside, and it just missed the zone, moving the count to 1-2. He will now have a quick meeting with number 26, Dylan LaRue, the catcher for the Larks. And it didn't take long. They will both go back to their respective positions. Seth Lee, the future New Mexico Lobo, just needs 1 more strike. And here comes the pitch. Up high and inside. And the count is back to even. After Joe Anderson was down 0-2 to start, it's now 2-2. Seth Lee kicks and deals and just misses on the outside corner. Joe Anderson has fought his way back all the way to a full count.
That was a good-looking pitch there from Seth Lee. He just barely missed the outside corner of the zone, and unfortunately for him, he's going to have a little bit of pressure on him now with runners on first and second and a full count.
He will take his time as we've reached the halfway point on the pitch clock, which starts at 20 seconds. The pitch on the way, swing and a miss, and Seth Lee able to get the final out of the inning. Coming in relief for Simon Lunsford. The Larks retire the side and still hold on to a 6-1 lead after 7. When we come back, it'll be the top of the 8th inning with Tabor Stokes, C.J. Reed, and Lane Sparks up next for the Larks. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. Back here at X Stadium in Wichita as we start the top of the 8th inning. The Stars will send Caden Henson back to the mound for a 5th inning of work to face off against the bottom part of the Larks order. It'll be 2 batters before the Larks go back to the top of their order for the 5th time tonight with Lane Sparks As Tabor Stokes lead things off, he will let the first pitch go by, and it rolls away from the catcher Landon Bailey to start the count off 1-0.
I think despite Viscardi having a bit of a shaky start for the Stars team, Caden Hinson can look at this performance and be very happy with the way he's played. He's accrued 4 strikeouts on the night and only allowed, I believe, 1 run. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's only allowed 1 run in this ball game. And Caden Hinson so far has really looked good on the mound.
And it's an experience that he can take with him next season, because he's a player that's playing at the Division I level next season at UC San Diego, a team that could use guys like him since, like I said earlier in the broadcast, they're new to Division I after spending time at the Division II level.
It's always really difficult to transition to that Division I level, especially trying to compete with big schools like that can draw in recruits because their program has been built up for years upon years upon years as a Division I school. And so for a school like UC San Diego that's new to the Division I scene, it is really crucial that they try to get some quality recruits and build up their program.
On the 1-2 count, Tabor Stokes leaves the next pitch outside for ball 2. We have just passed the 2-hour mark of tonight's game here in the top of the 8th inning, going a little bit quicker than what it was the other night. It was the first pitch of our game against the Lone Star Kraken was 10:08 p.m., and we didn't get out of there until 1:35 a.m.
It was definitely a late night. I will say I enjoyed every second of it, and I've been enjoying every second of this NBC World Series as a whole. And despite it being almost 1 a.m., I am real chipper right now, if you guys couldn't tell back home.
Payoff pitch from Tabor Stokes. The jumping attempt is made by Aguilar, but he can't make the grab. And Tabor Stokes starts the inning off with a base hit and on a line drive that went over the head of number 27, Logan Aguilar, at the shortstop position. Big hit there by Stokes as he's got number 3 on the night.
There is something about a good crack of the bat that just is so satisfying. Hearing that crack of the bat off of a wood bat that they're playing with here in the NBC World Series, it's just – It's such a nice sound. And Tabor Stokes on that particular swing just made great contact with the ball, and you could hear it off the bat of how great contact he made on that play.
C.J. Reed shows bunt. Now Tabor Stokes will steal second base. It took a bounce before it got into Aguilar's glove, and he couldn't make the tag. 1-0 count to the second baseman as Tabor Stokes stops at second on a stolen base. Henson looks back at second base as C.J. Reed again showing bunt, pulls it back, but that's the first strike called.
Yeah, it slipped its way into the low part of the zone. That's a hard ball or a hard pitch to bunt on when it's low in the zone like that. C.J. Reed had to pull it back and was just kind of hoping it wouldn't make its way into the zone.
Reed makes contact with the bunt this time. It went high and outside, but it goes foul, and now he has to start swinging as the count is 1-2.
He's got to protect the plate now with 1 ball and 2 strikes. Anything close has got to be C.J. Reed's ball.
Henson will take his time, still looking back at second base, and delivers the pitch as Stokes kept pump faking like he was going to go make the run over to third base, but held back. And on the throw, C.J. Reed will work with a 2-2 count as it took a bounce.
Yeah, he's playing a little bit of mind games there with the pitcher, Caden Hinson. Stokes really was almost a third of the way over to third base there on that jump. He had a pretty big lead off of second base.
It's an even count to the future Ohio State Buckeye, C.J. Reed. Henson continues to watch second base. This time he took a longer look, and he delivers the pitch outside. It's a full count now for Reed. He's been faced with 2 strikes in every at-bat tonight, and this is the second one in a row where he's faced with a full count. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's a swing and a miss for the first out of the inning.
Well, considering he had to come back from being down 1-2, C.J. Reed really battled back there in that count. He can't go back to the dugout unhappy with that at-bat, considering he really did battle quite well in that count.
Still just one out as the Larks go back to the top of their order with Lane Sparks. Started the game with a hit and then a walk shortly after that. And now a throw back to second base, and it rolls away from Aguilar, who couldn't get a hold of it. Tabor Stokes actually ran over to third base when the throw was made, but because it got away from Aguilar, he was able to get there safely.
Well, it was a well-timed run by Tabor Stokes to go ahead and go on that. He knows he's fast enough to make it over to third on a play like that. It's just a matter of how quick the reactions are of the infielders on a play like that.
Second steal of the night for Tabor Stokes, and the count is 1-0 to Lane Sparks. Henson delivers the pitch inside. Sparks does not take a swing at it. He's ahead 2-0. The catcher will center his glove, taking a swing at it. Sparks will pop it up in the infield. The catcher will throw down his mask, trying to track it down. He'll make a diving play for it in foul territory, and he's got it for out number 2.
That was an impressive catch there from Bailey. Big props to the catcher behind the plate, able to make a diving play and had to almost snow cone the catch there. He had to turn his glove and just pray that it kind of went in his glove, and he was able to get underneath it. He threw his mask off just at the last second, was able to really track it better, but the reason being they do that is so they can see the ball well. It's really hard to see and see the entire view of the air, especially in the night sky like this. For a catcher to make that play is pretty impressive.
It's the second game in a row that the Larks have played in where it's pitch black in the sky from start to finish. And now there's 2 outs, and it's an 0-1 count to the next batter up, Trent Baker. Looking to drive in the run. He'll hit a fly ball into right field. Ethan Wright will run after it. And this one will take a bounce and then roll into the Stars bullpen, and the count is now 0-2.
Well, the wind has died down significantly here at X Stadium. The right field flagpole is no longer really whipping towards our direction. It's still blowing a little bit, but it's really doesn't have much wind catching the flag. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the flight of the ball for the remainder of this game, as that ball kind of looks like it had a little bit of wind in play, but didn't quite seem to make its way into play.
Baker stays alive on the 0-2 count, hitting a ground ball foul over to the Larks dugout on the third base side. Next run for the Larks is 90 feet away with Tabor Stokes at third. Hayes trying to get their first run since the 4th inning, and a big hit here by Baker. This one's going to roll all the way to the wall. Tucker trying to track it down as Baker goes to second and will stay put right there. He gets the RBI, scoring Tabor Stokes over from third, and that's number 40 on the year for Trent Baker.
A nice knock, and what a way to secure RBI number 40 on the year for Trent Baker. A good-looking hit. It rolled all the way back to the warning track, close to the 375 mark in right center field. And a pretty crucial hit there for Trent Baker secures run number 7 on the night. The Larks leading at 7-1 here in the top of the 8th.
Jackson Babcock got the label of RBI leader at the start of tonight's game, but Trent Baker just shows up there and says, nope, we're going to stay tied. Thomas Lissy, who's batting third in the order tonight, will start with an 0-1 count for his 5th appearance at the plate. Up 4 spots from where he was originally. Henson took 3 looks back to second base and delivers the pitch for ball 1. As the Larks can keep the 2-out rally going, they'll send Paul Smith up to the plate. Now swing and a miss will put the count to 1-2 for Lissy. On the starting lineup, it was Jackson Babcock batting fourth, but since Paul Smith came in for him as a defensive substitute, he will also come in as a pinch hitter in just a moment if Lissy can keep the inning alive. Here's the 1-2. This one hit hard, foul. And Lissy will now await the fifth pitch of the at-bat. Trent Baker over at second base. He's got 2 steals tonight, trying to play some mind games with the pitcher Henson. And he hits a fly ball, and Lissy hits a fly ball into center field. And the catch is made for out number 3. The Larks add another run that inning and extend their lead to 7-1, and will now go back to work in the field for the bottom of the 8th inning. It's 2-3-4 up next for San Diego. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. Logan Aguilar comes up to the plate for the bottom of the 8th inning after the Larks extended their lead to 7-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Aguilar will start the inning with a 1-0 count and then takes the next pitch, and he's ahead 2-0. Seth Lee's next pitch missed the zone for ball 3. The Larks just need to hold on for these next few innings, and they will have their 14th top 4 finish at the NBC World Series since 1990. But they're not going to be focused on that if they get the win tonight. They're focused on going for the repeat, as they'll get a rematch with the Lone Star Kraken tomorrow.
Well, they have been driven this whole season, and their main focus has been getting back to this NBC World Series and trying to go back-to-back. And so far, they're on a pretty good track to be able to do that once again if they can continue to play quality baseball.
The NBC listed that game as to be decided, so the expected start time would be anywhere between 6 or 7. There would only be one other game that day, so we won't have to worry about games lasting for 2 days.
Yeah, if I were to take a wild guess, I would say the game tomorrow will more than likely start at 6, assuming the Larks will play in that game tomorrow. I would imagine that will start at 6, and they are going to play the Lone Star Kraken. At least the winner of this game will.
On a 1-1 count, Justin Tucker gets a huge hit that rolls down the left field line, and it hits the wall as Trent Baker throws it in. It's a double that puts 2 runners in scoring position.
Well, that was a pretty crucial hit there for Justin Tucker, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a mound meeting here pretty soon because they're getting to this part of the game where every at-bat is crucial for this San Diego Stars team. And we've seen it before where a lead can slip in just one inning. And so the Larks have to be very diligent here in the bottom of the eighth to not let this game get out of hand to the point where they are feeling like they're in a little bit of an uncomfortable situation.
And Keith Harper will make the walk out to the mound. If the Larks do have to make a change, they do have Dylan Hill and Adrian Nahar both warming up. But the Bats have done their part in this game. They built that early lead and made life easier for pitching.
They have, and we've heard it all season long from this entire Larks team. Games become immensely easier for their entire team when they're able to build an early lead like they have here tonight. I was a little bit nervous coming into this game, seeing that the Larks were going to be the visitor on at least in terms of the visitor of, for the at least in the scoring column is more what I mean, is they were going to be the visitor in the scoring column. They wouldn't have last bats. And so I was a little bit worried about that just because historically the Larks have played better when they were the home team, especially here at the NBC World Series. At least in this tournament so far, they've played better when they've been the home team, the one time that they have been. And so I was a little bit worried they were the visitor, but so far they've really crushed my expectations of this team, and they've done a great job.
So count is now 0-2 to Landon Bailey, catcher for the team. I apologize for the technical.
Hank's mic is currently struggling, so he is going to work on getting that all fixed up. Looks like he may have that back in working order now. Is a 1-2 count to the catcher Landon Bailey. The pitch is hit into left center field. Tracking it down is Duncan, and swooping right in front of him is Trent Baker, and he will secure the first out of the inning. So Seth Lee takes a bit of a sigh of relief as that ball looked like it may have had a chance to drop into play. And Trent Baker comes in big for the Larks. I think Hank may have his mic back in working order now.
It's an issue that I've had all season. Same with you.
It's been a constant battle.
But it looks like it's good for now. So now up to bat is Frank Giacalone, who will start his at-bat with a 1-0 count. Giacalone is an infielder from San Diego, California that's playing his 5th game of this year's NBC World Series. He will leave the next pitch upstairs as Seth Lee has to battle back against a 2-0 count against Giacalone, who is also 0 for 3 on the day and has been struck out twice. He works with Logan Aguilar at third base and Justin Tucker at second base. Here comes the 2-0. Right down the middle for strike one. Tied count now for Seth Lee, who has gotten 1 strikeout in the game since he's came in. And the next pitch misses the zone just barely. 3 balls in the count now to number 35, Frankie Giacalone. Seth Lee will take his time. Only 3 seconds left on the pitch clock, and a swing and a miss. It's a full count now to Giacalone, and Seth Lee will look for strikeout number 2 on the night.
Well, Seth Lee brought the heat on that pitch, and Frank Giacalone was way behind the pitch and just couldn't even have the opportunity to even connect with that one. Seth Lee had a good-looking pitch there, found its way into the zone.
The payoff pitch goes to the plate and gets fouled back into the net, and we'll now wait the 7th pitch of the at-bat to Frankie Giacalone. Payoff pitch is on the way, and this one hit over to Jackson Babcock, who goes on the run, throws it down to first base, and the play is made in time. A run does score for the San Diego Stars, but the out is made over at first base, and I apologize for the correction. It is Paul Smith playing first base now who went over and made that play and able to throw it over to a covering Seth Lee for the second out. Next batter is number 34, Raph Dunn, who gets hit by the pitch and will head down over to first base.
Well, Seth Lee is a little bit in his head right now, I think, and I saw him take his hat off and kind of hit it against the side of his leg there on that pitch. He's just got to relax and try to keep his composure here. He's a talented pitcher for this Larks team, and he knows what he's capable of. He's just got to put his mind to it.
Gavin Gamino will come up to bat to try to keep the 2-out rally going for the Stars. Trying to rally back in their return to the NBC World Series. They took 8th place last season, so they're trying to avoid a second straight quarterfinal exit. 1-0 count to Gamino, and the next pitch is on the way and inside. He is ahead 2-0. Another player in the middle part of the San Diego order that's still in search of his first hit of the night and trying to get on base for the first time as well. And Keith Harper is going to take another meeting on the mound, and he will signal over to the bullpen. And we'll see who's coming in just a moment. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. For the third time in this tournament, Adrian Najar will take the mound as he looks to get the final out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. It is a 2-0 count to the designated hitter, Gavin Gamino. He works with 2 runners on base. Justin Tucker at third and Raph Dunn at first. Starts the inning with a ball. The count is 3-0 to Gamino. And on the next pitch, it finds the low outside corner for the first strike.
Adrian Najar is the type of guy that you can put him in a situation that may not be the most ideal for a pitcher, but he will get the job that you need him to get done, especially when there's 2 outs on the board or mid at bat. He is a guy you can depend on to put into a game or put into a count that's close, and he will secure whatever you need to do, whatever he needs to get done for you.
And Najar able to fight back to get to the full count. Just needs one more strike to end the inning. Trying to get strikeout number 3 on Gavin Gamino, the Rogers State commit. Here's the payoff pitch. And this one's a line drive into center field. Caleb Duncan will sprint after it. And on the run, his hat flies off, and he makes the grab for the 3rd out. What a play made by Caleb Duncan running in from center field. He's got the catch, and it's time now for the top of the 9th inning. The Larks are 6 outs away from moving on to the semifinals. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. To start the top of the 9th inning, the Larks will make a pinch hit change for Jackson Babcock. Coming up to the plate is number 25, Paul Smith, as the Larks begin the middle part of their order. Smith begins with a 1-0 count. It's his 21st game batting this season. As he takes the next pitch, the count moves to 1-1. 298 average on the year for the junior out of Flower Mound, Texas. And again, he takes another pitch, and now the count 1-2. The Larks have led from start to finish in tonight's game. Jumped out to a 1-0 lead after the first inning. They would score the next 4 runs of tonight's game. And now Paul Smith gets a huge hit into right field, going back to the wall. This one takes a bounce off the warning track, and Paul Smith will run to second. Now he's going to try to go to third, and he slides in safely. Coming in as the pinch hitter for Jackson Babcock, he gets a huge triple off the right field wall, and that is a big way to start the top of the 9th inning.
Well, the Larks dugout is loving that play from Paul Smith. What a knock from him. That ball looked like it was crushed. I thought it had a chance to get out of the ballpark. It just barely stayed in the ballpark. Out in right center field, basically hit the yellow part of the fence, which for those that aren't familiar with the way this ballpark is set up, the yellow part of the fence is basically the top, 6 inches of the fence. So he was just maybe an inch or two a difference from homering on that play. A great play there for Paul Smith.
If it didn't hit the yellow line, it hit right below it. That was a huge hit for him. Caleb Duncan now to bat. He's gotten on base 3 plate appearances in a row. And on a 1-0 count, he'll pop up the pitch. And this one going back towards the outfield grass is Dunn, who's got the catch for the first out.
Well, Smith just 90 feet away now from scoring here and securing run number 8 on the night for the Larks. And all the Larks need to do is drive a deep one out into the outfield, and Smith should be able to score on a sacrifice fly.
Wilbert Espinal will come up to bat with 1 out. Larks ahead 7-2, trying to get maybe a couple more runs and then get the final outs in the next inning to set up a matchup with the Lone Star Kraken. One 1-0 count with 1 out. And Espinal will foul the next pitch off of his foot for the first strike. So they'll give him a second to walk off to the side and recollect himself. And the Larks fans will clap for Wilbert Espinal as he goes back into the left-handed batter's box. Still a great showing by the fans. Still have some that are locked in, others chatting to each other, and a big hit here by Wilbert Espinal going into right field. He scores Paul Smith, and he's got the hit to extend the lead to 8-2.
Well, the Larks, in Larks fashion, have kept the bats going here in tonight's matchup. And, boy, it's been a pretty impressive performance from this Larks team on both sides of the baseball. Offensively and defensively, they've really been working on all cylinders, and now it looks like they're going to put in Brady Kreitzer as a pinch runner for Wilbert Espinal.
That is what they'll do as Dylan LaRue comes up to bat. Single and a double for the catcher out of Cumberland University in tonight's game. He starts this at bat with a ball, and the count is 1-0. LaRue takes the next pitch. 2 balls in the count now. Trying to get his 3rd hit of the night. Still just 1 out. The runner at first is the courtesy runner, Brady Kreitzer, for Wilbert Espinal. Now 3 balls for LaRue. Here comes the pitch, a swing and a miss for the first strike to LaRue. It's the most amount of strikes he's been faced with so far. He's only had 1 strike in 2 other prior appearances. The 2 RBI double and a play where he grounded out to the pitcher. And he will take the next pitch, and this one's going to be called strike 2. But stealing second is Brady Kreitzer.
Kreitzer is just so quick on his feet. His legs just get moving, and he doesn't stop, especially sliding in there to second base. He was ready to go to 3 if they would have thrown that ball, and it would have gotten overthrown.
So after starting 3-0, Dylan LaRue will face a full count as the payoff pitch will be skied into the air and will land behind the Larks bullpen.
Well, LaRue made pretty good contact with that pitch. If he can straighten that one out, that has a pretty good chance of getting out of this ballpark.
We'll see where LaRue can make contact with this one. He will foul back the next pitch. And we will now await number 8.
Come on, Dylan. You're supposed to hit that one up here to me. I was ready to catch it.
It's been a long at-bat. Here's the pitch, and once again, fouling it again. Dylan LaRue, it stays in the field, but he made contact with it. 3 straight foul balls for him after being faced with 2 strikes. Here is pitch number 9. This one's fouled back, and it lands to the left of us.
He must have heard me talking to him. He's ready to give me one. I'm ready, Dylan.
Saw the trajectory of that one. I kind of got excited for you.
It had the chance. It really did.
We'll see who wins the battle. This one's fouled back. Goes over the press box, kind of directly in front of us almost.
It's a little bit too high, Dylan. Bring it down just a little bit, and you'll have it right here. I mean, you are just so close.
Either way, that was pitch number 10, and this one will be number 11. And here it comes, as heading for third is Brady Kreitzer on a steal, and Dylan LaRue is going to be walked.
Well, the Larks have one more runner just 90 feet away from scoring here with only 1 out on the board. They've got a pretty good chance here driving Brady Kreitzer in from third base.
There's going to be a meeting here between the San Diego Stars. Their coach goes out to the bullpen, or out to the mound.
It's interesting because they don't have anybody in the bullpen warming up at all, and I'm a little bit curious as to why they don't have anybody warming up in the bullpen at this point of the game. I understand that, this lead is starting to get out of reach for them, but at the same token, it's like, this is potentially your last game. It's win or go home. So even if you have any remote chance of winning this ball game, you would think you would want to put in another pitcher to try and limit the amount of runs the Larks score here in the top of the ninth.
And I actually looked it up when you were calling the middle part of the game that they used a total of 4 pitchers in their win against Lone Star Baseball Club. So that was earlier today, and they just don't have anybody to work with right now. So at this point, the players are just playing to build up their resume, because that's what you, other than coming here to win an NBC World Series, that's what your goal is as a player.
It's very possible that their bullpen doesn't run all that deep, especially for a team that doesn't really play a whole lot of baseball over the summer, and for a team that really forms more specifically just for the NBC World Series, it's hard to build up a large bullpen that the Larks have.
Count is 1-2 to Tabor Stokes. Working with Brady Kreitzer at third and Dylan LaRue at first. Still just 1 out. As the pitch goes to the plate, it is outside in the opposite batter's box for ball 2. Stokes will take his time. The halfway point has been reached on the pitch clock, and it's down low for ball 3. Catcher centers his glove for the payoff pitch, and it's a foul tip. And Tabor Stokes will make his way back to the dugout as there's 2 away. That'll bring up number 1, C.J. Reed. 2 outs, runners at the corners. The Larks already have 1 run this inning. And the pitch goes outside for ball 1. is ahead now 2-0 as he lets the next one take a bounce in the dirt. This is his 5th appearance at the plate in tonight's game. Or correction, this is his 6th appearance. And in tonight's game, he has an RBI. And he's got a chance to walk right here as he's ahead 3-0. The pitch goes to the plate, and it finds the inside corner of the zone for the first strike. If Reed walks right here, it would give the bases loaded, and Lane Sparks would be the next batter up for the Larks. And on the 3-1 count, this one hit into the air, going into foul territory. Another one landing behind the Larks bullpen. It is now 3-2 to C.J. Reed. So we'll await the payoff pitch. This is 3 batters in a row for the Larks that have been faced with a full count. 1 walked, 1 struck out. And here's the pitch. This one's a fly ball that looks like it's going to land in foul territory and actually stayed fair. It bounced on the line, and Brady Kreitzer will score, and Dylan LaRue scores as well. A 2 RBI double for C.J. Reed. That one looked like it was going to land in foul territory and then bounced right on the line. And the Larks have a 10-2 lead.
Nice knock there from C.J. Reed. Got that ball to drop in play, and Larks give themselves an 8-run lead now here in the top of the 9th.
The 18th game this year for the Larks where they've scored at least 10 runs. And they're going to try to build that lead even more as they're back to the top of their order. Just trying to, I guess you could say, build some confidence as you go into the later parts of the bracket, because now you got the semifinal matchup against the Lone Star Kraken, and then you look at who you could potentially face in the championship game. It would either be the Seattle Cheney Studs or the Hutchinson Monarchs, which would be a rematch of last year's championship game. And there's going to be a change on the mound for the San Diego Stars. So we'll step away and see who they bring in when we come back. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. With the Larks starting to run away with tonight's game, the San Diego Stars will make a change on the mound. To get some experience, they'll bring in number 11, Jacob Lanza, the freshman left-hander who's another player on this team from Mesa Community College in San Diego. Pitched in 8 games this season and is just going to try to get the final out. Working with a runner at second base, which is C.J. Reed, who had the 2 RBI double just a moment ago. After he gets the final out, the Larks will just need 3 outs to put the game away. And now the count 0-2 to Lane Sparks as he fouls off the next pitch. The catcher Landon Bailey will take a walk to the mound to have a talk real quickly with his new pitcher Jacob Lanza. This is his second appearance on the mound of the NBC World Series. He pitched 2 innings in the first one, gave up 5 hits and 4 runs, and had 1 strikeout. Lanza looks back at second. Here's the pitch. Low and outside for ball 1. Lanza takes another look back, and again he puts it in a similar spot, trying to get Sparks to take a swing at it, but he holds back, and the count is even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. This one will get fouled back. I was rooting for Eli right there. That one actually had a chance. Just the angle, it landed on top of the press box.
Yeah, and it looked like it actually was going to the left of me, unfortunately. I almost had an opportunity to be ready to catch it, but I had my hands out. I was ready.
Count is still 2-2 to Sparks, and the pitch misses inside for ball 3. Payoff pitch is on the way. This one drilled foul, landing out of the ballpark. And we will now await the 8th pitch of the at-bat to Lane Sparks.
Well, Sparks absolutely crushed that ball. It went over the bleachers, and the way that ball, it didn't even land in the ballpark. I mean, it actually landed completely out of the ballpark, and he made really good contact with it, just couldn't quite get it in play.
Fly ball into center field, and getting there in time is Tucker for out number 3. But the Larks add 3 more runs that inning, taking a 10-2 lead into the bottom of the 9th. 3 more outs, and they will set up a semifinal matchup with the Lone Star Kraken. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. The Larks got 3 hits and added more runs in the top of the 9th inning. And with 3 outs right here, they can celebrate the victory as Adrian Nahar returns to the mound to face off against the 8-9-1 batters for the Stars. And he starts the inning with a ball to Carter Lockwood. Lockwood so far 0 for 1 on the day with 2 walks in his last 2 appearances. And he is now ahead again 2-0. And the next pitch is put in play over to Tabor Stokes on a hard ground ball. Throws it down to first base where Paul Smith catches it and gets the first out of the inning.
Well, this Larks infield has really been very well kept tonight, and they have really managed every play quite well. There have only been a couple points where they've had some errors that have led to some slip-ups, but really they have just handled just about every situation that's been thrown at them very well, even if it's been a close play at first base.
Ethan Wright now out to bat for the Stars. He will hit the first pitch, and it's going to be foul, starting the count off 0-1. Ethan Wright, another batter for the Stars that has gotten out once and been walked twice. He is also one of 2 players for the Stars to score, and he gets hit on the arm, and will head over to first base.
Ouch! That one didn't sound like that felt very good. I could hear that impact from up here, so I'm sure that probably didn't feel all that great. Although it was good for him that he was able to turn his back in time, so he didn't really take the brunt of the hit, at least on the front of his body.
That'll send San Diego back to the top of their order with number 4, Joe Anderson, the third baseman. And the first pitch is inside for ball 1. Ethan Wright will take a short lead at first. Nahar delivers the next pitch. Missing up high. It is now 2-0 to Joe Anderson. Still just 1 out. On deck is Logan Aguilar. Justin Tucker is in the hole. Swing and a miss on the next pitch. Joe Anderson missed up high. Count moves to 2-1. And the pitch to untie the count. And Anderson swings and misses for strike 2. Nahar just needs 1 more strike to get the second out. He delivers the pitch, and it misses on the outside for ball 3. Let's see if Nahar goes to his fastball right here, which maxes out at 90 miles per hour. He'll send the pitch to the plate, and it's the slider that misses low and inside. And the scoreboard reads 3-2, and then finally he heads down over to first base. Just took him a second, but now the Stars have runners at first and second base.
Well, I think everybody's starting to get a little bit tired here at X Stadium, and it's difficult to keep your head in the game when you get a little bit sleepy like that. And I would imagine it just took him a second to process that he had gotten walked.
We're all feeling the effects of it right now. I've been up doing research since 7 a.m., so I'm just ready for this game to be over, to be honest with you. It's 0-1 to the next batter up, Logan Aguilar, the shortstop. The next pitch is a fly ball into the shallow part of the outfield. Caleb Duncan will let it bounce, and runners will advance a base. At third is Ethan Wright. At second is Joe Anderson. And at first is Logan Aguilar. And that brings the Stars to one of their top batters, Justin Tucker. He recorded his first out of the night back in the 8th inning, which was a double on a 1-1 count.
Well, that ball was just kind of a blooper into center there, and it was hard for Duncan to be able to get underneath that and not overrun it and then miss the ball, and that caused more issues. So I think it was the right play there to just let that bounce.
Swing and a miss for Tucker. Starts the count off 0-1. Hard takes his time, and the pitch goes to the plate. And it's called a strike, moving the count to 0-2.
Well, Nahar gets ahead early here in this count. He's set himself up for success now for the remainder of this at-bat. He's in a great position to potentially strike out Tucker and secure the second to last out of the inning.
Pitch goes to the plate, and Justin Tucker gets hit, and a run will score for the Stars.
Well, maybe I should have knocked on wood after that comment there that I made about the count there. Nahar, unfortunately, letting up a run here, and it looks like Keith Harper is going to have a mound visit with Nahar.
So we'll step away for a moment as they talk things over, and we'll be back in a minute. You are listening to the NBC World Series on the Larks Network. So Keith Harper will go back to the dugout, and Adrian Nahar will stay on the mound. After the hit by the pitch, the catcher Landon Bailey comes up to bat. The first pitch low and called ball 1. Landon Bailey 0 for 4 on the day, struck out 2 times, has also had 2 flyouts. It's a big hit down the third base line. This one will go foul for strike 1. After Landon Bailey, it's Frankie Giacolone and number 34, Raph Dunn. Hard delivers the 1-1. This one hit over to Tabor Stokes. Double play opportunity. He'll go to Thomas Lissy. And on a fielder's choice, that's going to lead to out number 2. A run does score from third. That's Joe Anderson. Landon Bailey is at third, and Justin Tucker is at second.
Well, they're 1 out away from closing this one out, and I think all the Larks fans are ready to go back to wherever they're staying tonight in Wichita, Kansas, and get ready for tomorrow's matchup if they can hold on here. I don't want to jinx them yet. I've jinxed enough people in tonight's matchup. I've got to hold off from making too much of a ultimatum, but I think it's safe to say the Larks have this one at hand.
This would be win number 32 on the year and win number 17 in a row for the Larks. With the 1-0 count is Frankie Giacolone. We're going to get a time. And there's somebody standing on the center field screen. So they told him that he has to move out of the way and said he'll stand at the Coleman patio.
Well, I'll explain that here in just a moment, why they told him to move.
Pitch misses down low for ball 2.
So that screen out in center field is, they call that the batter's eye, and it's so that batters can pick up the ball on the pitch. And so when someone's standing out there, sometimes it can throw off a batter as to how the pitch comes in, and so that's why they told him to move out of the way.
Called strike, moves the count to 2-1. Can't say we've seen a game get stopped for that yet.
No, I think that's a first for me, and Caleb Duncan was telling him to move out of the way. I actually think that might be a staffer here at the NBC World Series. I saw a pass around his neck, so it's very possible that he was out there waiting for the conclusion of this game so that he can help with the teardown and whatnot of things that need to be done here around the ballpark.
Count is now 3-1 to Gia Colon. He has Justin Tucker at second and Landon Bailey at first. Here's the pitch. And this one's hit high in the air into right field. Lane Sparks will go back for it, track it down, and he's got the catch for out number 3. The Larks lead from start to finish and defeat the San Diego Stars by a final score of 10-4 to secure a spot in the semifinals against the Lone Star Kraken.
Well, the Larks do it in what we've seen them do all season long. They get ahead early, and they take care of business. Simon Lunsford, in my eyes, is the player of the game for the Larks tonight. He had an incredible outing, marking 9 strikeouts in the K column tonight for Simon Lunsford, adding to his total on the year, and in his first appearance as a Lark, no less. Just an incredible performance for him.
And, yeah, the pitching came up big. They finished with 12 strikeouts combined, making it now 25 games on the year with at least 10 strikeouts. And the batting came up big as well. Like I said, they led from start to finish. You had guys like Dylan LaRue, who scored 3 times, guys that came up big at the plate, and just an all-around great team effort for the first game of bracket play.
Without a doubt, and I think for this Larks team, this is great momentum for them going forward into the next games. They've got potentially 2 more games left to play here in Wichita, and they've got a rematch with the Lone Star Kraken, and that's going to be an interesting one. I think the Lone Star Kraken are certainly going to want their vengeance after losing to the Larks in pool play, and it was a pretty competitive battle from start to finish, and things were starting to get a little chippy there towards the end of that game, so it'll be interesting to kind of see how both teams interact going into this next matchup. And it actually, I can see on the screen next door, Simon Lunsford gets the player of the game from the NBC itself. So he gets player of the game from both the Larks Network and the NBC, so a great performance from Simon Lunsford from start to finish. He just played an incredible game.
It was a great all-around team performance, and we know that it's getting late, and we know that everybody has stuff that they'll probably want to do tomorrow, so we'll probably just go ahead and end our broadcast right there. We want to thank you all for tuning in to tonight's game, as it's our final game that will span across 2 days. So the Larks win it tonight by a final score of 10-4, and they will now play in the semifinals against the Lone Star Kraken. That will be the later game tomorrow, so we'll see what time the NBC decides to call it at. But either way, the Larks improved to 32-4-1 on the year, winning 10-4 tonight over the San Diego Stars. And again, that'll do it for our coverage of tonight's game. I'm Hank Corsair, and alongside me has been Eli Blankenship. And ladies and gentlemen, good morning from Wichita, Kansas.